what's up? It's me, Haley Jones, and I am here at Real Good Kitchen with the Bailey Foster, and I'm so excited. So we're gonna get into Real Good Kitchen in a minute, but first. So people can get to know you. We have rapid fire. Okay. 'Tis the season, Bailey.
Do I need to be afraid?
No, you're just choosing. You're just telling us a little bit about yourself.
All right.
Okay, so we're kind of going into the holiday season at the time of this recording, okay? Right. Pumpkin spice or peppermint mocha. Or you can say neither and like maple. I don't know.
Neither.
Are you a coffee drinker or no?
I mean, I used to be. I mean, I love pumpkin.
Yeah.
But I think it's way
saturated.
Way saturated in way too many things. Yeah, give me just like a delicious pumpkin pie. And very good. I don't need it in my coffee or my tea or my scented candle or all the other ways.
She's a purist. She said, give me a pumpkin pie.
Yes.
Okay, pumpkin pie or pumpkin bread?
Oh.
See?
I mean, it's a real toss-up. I love good pumpkin bread, too.
Oh, God, pumpkin
and I
bread,
feel like that kind of extends the season a little bit. Like, you can eat pumpkin bread now.
Oh.
And
you could eat it all year long as far as I'm
pumpkin pie last week, too, I have to
say.
On Halloween, yeah. I got my first pumpkin pie of the season.
Gosh,
we can talk about where that was later.
Okay. You grew up in Knoxville, right?
I did.
Okay. This is a weird question. I also grew up in Knoxville. And I find that a lot of the places that, like, we used to go, like, for example, Sundays after church, we went to the same restaurant, okay?
Yes.
And, well, the same three, okay? None of those three exist.
Okay, what were they?
Well, they were, Shoney's.
Yes.
Old Country Buffet.
Not so much. I mean, I don't know.
It's on my kid.
I don't remember.
Now it's where Rush is. Well,
maybe S&S Cafeteria.
Yeah. S&S in Westtown.
Well, it was in on Kingston Pike, also in Bearden.
Yes. Okay. Now it's like Payo or something.
Yes, it's a gym.
Yeah.
Or something.
So, is there a restaurant like you went to as a kid that's like completely gone? Like what are those two? Those two?
Well, Shoney's we used to go to, but Regis restaurant was one of my favorites. It was a special occasion restaurant. They had the tallest red velvet cake you could imagine. It was very fancy. My grandmother was a regular customer there for years, and so I also felt very fancy when I went there, and important because they recognized us and said hello, and it was that was the height of fine dining.
Yeah. That's where we went for like all of our high school graduation.
Yep.
Like all of our, and I'm telling you that cake. Woo!
I know. It was probably, like, it was probably,
I mean, good.
9 inches tall or something.
I'm like, please bring it back. Please bring it back. Okay, mountains or beach?
It's a toss-up, but I guess beach slightly.
Okay.
I do love the mountains.
Okay.
Really, when I think about a vacation, it usually involves a beach and a book.
Oh, I love that. What do you read? Are you like fiction, nonfiction?
Both. Usually in my normal course of life right now, I don't have much brain space, so I read like mysteries and police procedurals. Like for some reason, those not thrillers, not where you have to like learn about the serial killer's brain, but more like just there's some people and they're going to solve this mystery and we're going to know, how it all ends.
Right.
And it's very satisfying. When I'm on vacation, though, I read, sort of promiscuously, like whatever. I just mean, and I mean that only that, like, I might read some fiction, I might read some nonfiction, I might read some essays, I might read both. Probably not enough poetry, but that can be aspirational.
Yeah. Well, sometimes in
Usually I save my fat nonfiction books for the beach.
That is awesome. Okay, let's take a hard right turn and let's talk Real Good Kitchen. So if someone's like, I've never even heard of Real Good Kitchen, like what is the, I don't want to say elevator pitch, but what is Real Good Kitchen?
Yeah. So, I mean, fundamentally, Real Good Kitchen is a shared commercial kitchen space. Like that is what it basically is. We have 2,500 square feet of commercial kitchen space that is shared. So we We make it available to folks who are starting food businesses or folks who already have them and need some commercial space to grow in. Our space is permitted. We have shared pieces of equipment. We have a dishwasher.
Yeah.
We have all the infrastructure you need to operate a food business completely legally. It could be a prepared food business. It could be a food truck. It could be, you could do baked goods. You can manufacture things. We've had folks here who butchered pigs and made sausages. We have folks who make hot sauce. So, we can accommodate almost any kind of food business. And so, it ends up being a co-working space for food businesses, basically, where folks can come in, have access to the kind of space they need to sell where they want to sell, and be legal and do it in a way that is much more approachable, much less risky, and just more accessible as they're in the early stages of their business, and even as they grow. Our goal is to grow with our businesses so that they can stay here, build their business until they feel more able and more stable to move into their own spaces. Or whatever those goals are.
Right. So shared, multiple people using it, people, different businesses, and the commercial piece, and you kind of touches on like the legality of having a food business. So will you tell us a little bit more about that?
And the scale of equipment. So we have all commercial equipment. We have grease traps and floor drains and commercial dishwashers. And also the permitting from the health department and from the Tennessee Department of Ag that allows, which means that we keep our kitchen at a certain standard. And it's, recognized as a place where you can, make and sell food legally. You can do things from your home for sure, and a lot of people do. But when you are at a stage in your business where home is not the right place anymore, or where you have kind of reached a ceiling in how you're able to grow, or you have taken up the whole, your whole house with your ingredients and your packaging, and your equipment is not sufficient, we're a good place to turn if you want to grow your business from there and have access to the commercial kitchen, the commercial equipment, and the commercial space that will help you, that you can leverage to grow your business. We also help a lot of folks who are just getting started and who literally just need guidance and support on how to do that, and they need a space where where they can make their products.
So this might be a dumb question, and it's like a little bit in the weeds, but I'm just curious. Like, so if you are gonna use the kitchen, do people store stuff here, or do they bring it one time? Like, how does it work?
Well, I mean, different people manage their businesses different ways. But, the basic idea and the expectation of, the health department or other regulatory bodies is that you would bring your ingredients here, use them to make your product, take your product and sell it where you're going to sell it. In the way that you're supposed to, holding it at the right temperature, or, selling it through the proper channels direct to consumer, or if you have a different kind of license, you can do wholesale sales. But any ingredients that you're storing them here. Any finished product that you're storing it here. So, that your customers, you are handling it in a safe way. Our facility is maintained as any commercial kitchen would be, with food safety standards in mind, and everyone who comes in has to do some basic training so they also understand what the risks are, so that they can prepare their food safely. They understand more about allergens, so it's just
allergens.
There are different considerations, obviously, when you are cooking for friends and family or serving a meal at your home, than there are when you're trying to do that as a business. And so we help people sort of make that transition, and hopefully then leverage the resources in the community, because equipment is awesome, dishwashers are awesome, storage space is awesome, all the right chemicals are awesome. The community and being in community with other people who are doing the same thing you're doing, trying to grow their businesses, learning from each other, collaborating, I think that is one of the greatest parts of this experience is just being in community with other folks, and we definitely do all that we can to nurture that community.
So you grew up here, you went away, New York, San Francisco, and from what I read, it's like you did a whole bunch of different stuff.
I did,
And then, so how did you, not necessarily, you don't have to tell us how you got back here, but what kind of was the reason for Real Good Kitchen? Like, what brought that about?
Think of it? So when we lived in San Francisco, there still is, and there was at the time an incubator kitchen space called La Cocina, the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it still lives in the Mission District in San Francisco, and they have another presence in the East Bay. But they were helping, and they're sort of the I don't know. I think of them as the mothership of incubator kitchens. They have been around for about 20 years, and they have a whole curriculum and incubator program. Folks have to apply into it. It's a pretty rigorous process, and their desire is to really help low-income folks from marginalized communities, immigrants, women, help have access to the same opportunities that other folks will, to start and grow their businesses. Yeah. And I just was really inspired and continue to be really inspired by the work that they were doing. Excited by it. I haven't done a whole lot professionally in food myself. I've never been a chef, or at least I'm a good home cook, but never doing that for a living. Yeah. But food has always been such an important through line in my life. I mean, a lot of hospitality in my family, a lot of cooking and cooking across generations and hosting and just a lot of great memories around that. And then living in different places. And having access and the opportunity to experience food from cultures from around the world and create those relationships around food. It's just always been something that's been kind of a passion and preoccupation of mine. And when I found myself back in Knoxville, not really having planned, by the time we moved here, we planned to do that, but not having planned for that to be the trajectory of my life. I thought Knoxville has changed so much since I grew up here. I'd been living away for almost 25 years, and the downtown, I had seen the progress from afar, but just realizing how much redevelopment had happened, and how much local food there was, and just how much kind of vibrancy in food and beverage there was, and just energy. And I thought, I wonder if Knoxville is ready for this kind of concept where there's a lot of people doing a lot of things, and there's a lot of prosperity around food and beverage, but who gets to participate in that? And is there a place, and are there opportunities for folks who may need, social, cultural, economic capital to get started, or may need more resources and guidance? Are there places where that, they can get that? And I found the answer to be not really. Certainly we had Knoxville Entrepreneur Center and lots of entrepreneurship and lots of great businesses and a wonderful food history here too. Yeah. Lots of family-owned businesses and local food businesses. Great culinary, yes, great culinary traditions. But not a facility and not the resources, entrepreneurial resources, business support resources that were particularly focused on food. Yeah. And so I just started down the road of talking to as many people as I could, studying lots. The idea of a shared commercial kitchen is not an original concept. I've already talked about the one in San Francisco. It's been going for about 20 years. There are shared commercial kitchens, both for-profit and non-profit, both incubator in the sense that they provide other resources, business support type resources besides the shared facility. Yeah. There's every model you can think of in rural and urban places around the country and really in the world. Yeah. And so I just studied as much as I could and talked to as many people as I could. And the farther I went down the road, the more I couldn't imagine not doing it. And also, I found that it seemed like something that the community really did want. And that could serve, serve Knoxville, which in the middle of my life, having done a lot of other things, I just thought, I want to do something that's meaningful and that's impactful. And if this is it, then I want to give it a try. So that's, it took me about 4 years to get it open. And now we are finishing up our 5th year of operation. And so I guess we've done well. And I'm not somebody who ever stops thinking about how we could do better. And so certainly we can do that, but we've served about 110 businesses since we opened our doors. a good number of whom have gone on to have their own spaces and do their own things. And, you know, if we have also, and I know that we have created opportunities for folks to try things and decide that it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
But not having invested in a food truck or gone down the road of a bricks and mortar or just sort of had all of that capital, all of that, you know,
heartbreak
and heartbreak. You know, if we've been able to offer, hey, come in, yes, it costs some money, but try it out, it didn't work, that's great. For me, that feels like we've served them too, and that is a viable outcome. Like to be able to have the privilege of saying, I tried it, it didn't work, I'm gonna go on to something else.
Yeah, for sure. So over the 5 years that you've done, well, 9 really. I mean, let's not count out the 4 before, because that matters. Like, what's something that about the food business or starting a food business that you thought when you started that you like had completely wrong, or that's been like a huge like, oh my gosh, like didn't know that was a need or even a thing?
Well,
I'm sure there's a ton, but
I mean, I think that I had some pretty good ideas about what would be needed, and you know, the nuances of those are different than I thought. How we might meet those needs is different than I thought. Yeah. I think overall, everything is just even more magnified than I realized it would be. What I mean by that is, businesses are so much harder than I realized. I mean, I knew they would be hard, and I had experienced that. But, you know, part of this journey for me has been in being an entrepreneur myself, as I was trying to support other entrepreneurs. Right. And so, having those ups and downs, I heard as I was getting started a quote, or someone shared it with me from Instagram, I think. I don't even know who the source of it was, but essentially, entrepreneurship was described as getting comfortable with the feeling that things were coming together and falling apart all at the same time. And I think that there could not be a better description for what it feels like to be an entrepreneur or a small business owner, however you're thinking of yourself. And so I think one thing that has been so meaningful and impactful to me just doing this work has been being on this journey with all of these folks who are pouring their heart and soul, their money, their time, their passion, you know, their effort into building these businesses. And there have been some great successes and some heartbreaking failures and everything in between. And, you know, did I know it would be quite so much of a roller coaster and quite so just fraught with so many different things? And also, like, I can't imagine doing anything else for me or a lot of the folks that I work with, right? Like, once you experience what it's like to be able to, you know, try to take something that really means something to you and grow it into something that is separate from you and also successful out in the world, it's a really intoxicating experience to have.
Yeah, so cool. So is there like a what's the most common thing that is it food trucks that are here? Like, what's the most common?
I would say, gosh, we've had a whole range, but I would say we have a lot of folks who are doing some form of catering. Okay. Who are doing either maybe it's full scale events like weddings or you know, things like that, or they're doing prepared meals, or they're doing, you know, some other just more routine corporate events or other things. I would say we do have a lot of mobile food units right now. We always have had some. We've been seeing more carts or trailers in recent years than fully built out food trucks, because they're the most expensive option. Yes. You know, you still need to have kind of a mobile kitchen, but especially if you're pairing it with a commissary where you have more space to do prep and can do storage, and so you need less of it built into your mobile food unit. Yeah. Then that works pretty well. We have lots and lots of folks who make products that sell at various markets. Okay. The Market Square Farmers Market that Nourish puts on is an absolute game changer for small food businesses. And I think for farmers and small producers too. Like, I just think it has turned into such an important part of the food economy. And it really, it teaches the businesses that work here that are new and growing how they need to sell. It teaches them a lot about their customers. They can do really, really great sales there. I mean, I also think an interesting thing that so many folks realize is that retail settings, markets, or storefronts, or places where you're waiting for customers to come to you is the most unpredictable way of doing business. And so I think most folks, after they have been through it for a little while and worked really hard and felt, and realized like it is so hard to get customers to come to me.
Right.
How can I benefit? How can I make something that is a little bit more of a regular revenue producer? And so they end up looking at wholesale opportunities, or they, in the sense that, how can I get my product into somewhere else,
right,
where it can be sold to, where I can have access to that business's customers too. Or how can I get it used in restaurants and put on their menu, or just get some of that regular revenue that that helps, because you deal with seasonality, you deal with just fickle consumers, you deal with the economy. So really figuring out how to diversify that becomes pretty important as people go along.
What is the food economy like here in Knoxville? Like, how would you describe it? Where are we strong? Where are we weak? Like, what does that look like?
I mean, I think I can't, speak for everybody, but I think we've traditionally been a place that's had a lot of chain restaurants. I think we've been, I don't think this is just urban legend that we've been considered a good testing ground and a good market for, chain restaurants. And we continue to get those. And I think that's fine. And there's room for that. I think that, we also have become a better and better place for all kinds of different food. We have a fine dining food culture that is really influenced by our proximity to Blackberry Farm and the fact that and some other resorts, RT Lodge, and some other resorts that are producing really, really talented chefs who then are interested in investing in the community. I mean, Maryville has some of those same restaurants, and so we benefit from a very good fine dining culture that is very rooted in our location and the.
Do you feel like that's new? Because I feel like that's relatively new.
Yeah, I feel like certainly, and I would say that a key sort of pioneer in that area was Matt Gallagher when he opened Knox Mason. I think that was one of the first, like, really, connected to Appalachian food, connected to our local produce. Somebody will probably get mad if they hear this and think of some other example, but my excuse is that I wasn't living here before then. But when I got back here in 2013, that was sort of, his was a particular kind of establishment, and since then we've just seen more and more growth in that area. I think at the same time we've also seen a big growth in our community's appetite for different kinds of foods. And so I would say
beyond barbecue.
Beyond barbecue. And there's still like so many folks making such good barbecue.
I know.
And more coming along all the time.
How much barbecue do we eat here?
Yeah, we eat a lot of barbecue. But I think a lot of the folks who've been cooking food from their cultures, folks who have immigrated here or grown up here and wanted to share something from their culture, a lot of those have been not as in kind of the mainstream of our food culture. Maybe not necessarily focused in the downtown area, but I think also the food culture goes, it goes far. It goes far in all directions, and you can discover wonderful things. And I just think we've become more sophisticated diners, more sophisticated consumers. We have experienced lots of food, and people have come here to live here from other places, and where they had access to lots of different kinds of food. And Real Good Kitchen, like we didn't have North African food in Knoxville until Tariq, who was working in a Real Good Kitchen, came and started. He worked at many other restaurants in Knoxville, and is a wonderful chef. Wanted to share his culture and his food traditions that he had grown up with, and his family, and in his country of Algeria, and other areas of North Africa. And so he cooked his food, built his business. I mean, just worked so hard to introduce North African food to the community, and has a really loyal following, and was able to open his own restaurant this past summer.
Which is awesome.
So, I think that the fact that someone like Tariq can do that is exactly, Tariq's experience is exactly why I opened Real Good Kitchen, why I wanted to do it, because, obviously there's many food stories, many food traditions, many great food businesses, and the fact that he was able to come and leverage these resources and build something that was meaningful to him, that also introduces something new and different into our community, I think is it just makes me so happy that we were able to do that.
The mission.
The mission.
Good through food, right?
Make change through food.
Okay, so you started a foundation.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So the kitchen, Real Good Kitchen, is a for-profit, mission-driven business. We're a public benefit company. So we are grounded in mission and in community, in all aspects of the work that we do. But the bottom line is that it costs money to access our resources. And one of the things you asked about, things that I've learned, one of the things that I anticipated to be true and found to be true many times over what I imagined is that everyone needs some kind of help. There's not a business that comes in here that doesn't need some kind of help. And so we're able to deliver that, on somewhat of an individual basis, but not to the extent that is possible. It's very resource intensive to provide individual help, and we want to do as much and do as much of it as we can, but are not able to have the impact that I want to have, just helping people who are able to come and afford to come here and get individual support. So I had always thought that we probably would need a nonprofit entity that could, receive grant funding and receive, hopefully philanthropic support that would help us build, sort of food business programs. That would make our, make our expertise and make food business education and marketing and all those other sort of resources that people need more accessible. And that we would focus, to a large degree on our East Knoxville community, and also on, other folks from underserved or marginalized communities. And so that is where we focus our foundation. We have programs that are open to all for a fairly small fee, and then we have a kind of a signature food business incubator program that is really more of kind of a residency. They start with a curriculum, and then they move through. If they're not, people from the kitchen can apply, but they need to meet the requirements, and then if they haven't been in the kitchen, they can come to the kitchen and they'll get supported with lower cost access. So it really, the work is complementary. The kitchen supports the foundation through obviously our facility, and we give a discount to the foundation to which covers the cost of a portion of the cost of incubator program participants use of the kitchen. And so and then the foundation helps subsidize the kitchen costs too. So it's sort of like the participant pays some, Real Good Kitchen donates some, the foundation pays some, and just creates that lower cost access that can be so beneficial to an entrepreneur as they're in the early stages of
Yeah.
their business.
That's awesome. Okay, one last question.
Yeah.
Ish.
Sure.
Okay, Magpies. Tell us
Yes.
about Magpies. What's the 411 on that? What do we need to know? Should we be afraid we're not going to be able to get
Oh, no.
all the things? So tell us about that.
What I can say is that Magpie's menu remains Magpie's menu. And
Go get your sugar cookies.
go get your sugar go get your Sammys.
Yes.
Go get your crumb bum. You can still order your beautiful custom cakes. So Magpies was a happy, it was just a happy kind of opportunity that came along when it became clear that the owner was sort of ready to sell the business. The founder, Peg Hambright, reached out to me and said, is this something you would be interested in? It wasn't something that I had thought about before,
Right.
But the more I thought about it, the more I loved the opportunity to care for and nurture this amazing, wonderful local woman-owned brand.
Yeah.
Such a loyal following, such high-quality products.
Yeah.
Just such a place in our community, and so, I'm honored to have the opportunity to do that, and also I love the way it fits into what we're trying to do with Real Good Kitchen. Even though it has its own location and it's a little bit different from the way that we interact with our other businesses that work in our kitchen, which we call member businesses. It's a little bit like another member business. It is, we happen to own it, and we're and we're operating it, but we're nurturing it and growing it and working toward what the best future for Magpies is in the same way that we would help the other businesses. And I think that there's some interesting synergy and opportunities that come from that. Real Good Kitchen members, you may see some new savory items on Magpie's menu. Maybe things that we've had before, like we have chicken pot pie right now. You can get that. But maybe also some opportunities for other folks working in the kitchen to have some space to sell, to have a presence in that area in Magpies. And opportunities for internships through the foundation. Bakers who need some commercial baking experience, who need to see what
it takes or what it is.
What it takes and what it is. And so I don't know. It wasn't an opportunity that I was looking for, but
you built this thing, and now you can.
It worked out.
Yeah, so cool.
So Magpies is fun. It is a very lively, busy, thriving bakery business, and I'm just excited and honored to be able to carry it forward and see where the right where it goes. But of course, we're gonna keep the delicious things. We're not gonna take away the things.
Have you ever gone to a yoga class at Going Body when they're baking? And all you can think about is
I have not, but I can imagine.
I need a piece of cake.
It's an interesting.
Definitely around Thanksgiving, you're like,
I will say that we just put out our Thanksgiving menu. It's online. And,
so you're talking about a menu. So can people buy food from you? What does that look like?
Well, right now, so Real Good Kitchen, the kitchen offers catering, and we do that through our member businesses. So we do marketing, sales, and service for the catering, and we buy our members' food that we use in the catering. So we've started to incorporate Magpies products into that catering. So Real Good Kitchen can now be a one-stop shop for any kind of event, corporate catering. We have weddings. We've done nonprofit galas. We do all kinds of different events, big and small. We can incorporate Magpie sweets into that, and that's been really fun. And we're thinking about ways that we can go the other way. I'd love for us in the future to be a one-stop opportunity for folks who are having weddings, who are like, I want you to do the food for my wedding. I want you to do the cake. We can help with all that. And we are working on the possibility of a holiday menu that incorporates products from Real Good Kitchen and from Magpies, and we'll see about that. We haven't finalized that yet, but we're looking for all the ways that we can just get all this delicious food out to people, and that they can have more and more opportunities to just support these local businesses that are trying to make it work.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Is there anything I haven't asked you about Real Good Kitchen that you're like, we got to touch on this? People got to know.
I think that if you value local food and value small business and care about what, thriving local food businesses can do for communities in all kinds of different ways, whether it's creating jobs and creating opportunities to come around tables and learn about things and eat food that you didn't know about, creating opportunities for people to thrive, doing the things that are important to them, then put your dollars there. I mean, I think now more than ever there's so much uncertainty and so much division, and I think food is one of the things that we can come together around, and we can support those folks who are doing their best and making delicious food, and wanting to share that with our community every day, and just remembering that now and as we go into the holiday season, if you value the kinds of if you value what Real Good Kitchen is doing, if you value the folks who are trying to build those businesses and value having a thriving food economy and access to all kinds of different delicious food, then put your dollars there.
If people need where should people go to put their dollars? The Real Good Kitchen's website? Like, where should they go? What should they do?
You can come to Real Good Kitchen's website and order catering. You can see who our member businesses are and follow them and find out how you support them at markets or through their own online opportunities or food trucks or whatever it is. You can do the same with Magpies. You can go to Magpies website and order a cake or order some brownies or your pumpkin pie or whatever. And if you are interested in supporting the programs of Real Good Kitchen Foundation that help, support entrepreneurs as they are building their food businesses, your donation is completely tax deductible. You can go to realgoodkitchenfoundation.org and make a donation there, and we will appreciate that as we try to, again, in this very strange time, figure out how we
I don't know what you keep referring to.
Sustainable. We want to keep our programs sustainable going and supporting people. And we were able a couple of weeks ago to have just a really cool thing we call Real Good Gathering, which supports Real Good Kitchen Foundation. And it was such a great night of people coming together, loving food, trying new foods, hearing stories, and just supporting the work that we're doing. And so it was a great party, and it also did a lot of good. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Real Good Food Kitchen Foundation.
Real Good Kitchen Foundation, Real Good Kitchen, and Magpies.
Got it. I'm thinking real good food. I'm
Real
thinking
good
about
food.
I need some good food. Okay, thank you so much, Bailey. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
And you are doing amazing things.
I really appreciate it.
And I also want to say for everyone enjoying the food scene in Knoxville, think about how did that start? Where did this person come from? And this is why we want to support Real Good Kitchen, is because they are supporting people that are bringing us great food.
Well, I was the first one to. I'm just building on great local food traditions we have, and I'm just honored to be able to do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Haley.
Bye, guys. See you next time.